Hey y'all, this is Amanda and welcome back to my Texas Zone 8A garden, and today we're in the backyard and we are going to be planting several new bulbs throughout the garden for summer blooms. Now, planting bulbs is something that I've added to within my garden over the last few years. This garden is 4 years old, 5 years old, somewhere around there. And I've added bulbs a little bit at a time. Sometimes I've made mistakes where I put them. Most of the time I'm happy with it where I put them. I highly encourage you that if you don't like where some bulbs are, pull them up after they finish blooming and have started to die back, pull them up and move them to other places. But today we're going to be planting 4 varieties of bulbs. Now, the first variety are actually Dutch iris, and I got both of these from Aldi's, $2.50 for 20. This particular variety is called Blue Magic, and even though all my iris have actually already come up and bloomed already, and these are early spring, if I plant them now, I will still get them for blooms this summer, and then next year they'll kind of renaturalize themselves and come up at the normal time in the spring. Okay, so Dutch iris make for an excellent cut flower. They're one of my favorites. They actually, you can get some really true blue colors with them. They typically are planted March to May. They're planted about 4 inches deep, 5 inches apart. I never plant them 5 inches apart. I always plant them closer. This particular variety is about 20 inches high, and they tend to flower May through June. However, in my particular zone, Zone 8A, I do feel like they flower earlier. Mine all flowered in March, and they've already died back for the year. All right, the next variety I'm going to be planting are Gladiolus, and I picked up both of these from Aldi once again, and it's 15 Gladiolus for $2.50, which was an amazing deal. I got 2 varieties. One is called Trader Horn, and the other is called PRISCILLA. And so for the Trader Horn, you need to plant sometime between March and June. You plant at about 4 inches deep, 5 inches apart. Height is approximately 40 inches. I find that my gladiolus need to be staked in order to not be pushed over in the wind, and they tend to bloom in July through September. They make for an excellent cut flower. And for the PRISCILLA, it looks like it has all the same stats, planting March through June. Depth is 4 inches, distance apart is 5 inches, height is 40 inches, and the flowering time is July through September. These bulbs, when you're selecting bulbs, you definitely want to look at the bulbs if you can. These bulbs are in really good shape, and they already had, they were pushing growth already, which is great. Now, this next variety is a new to me. It's a crinum lily. It's called a red and white. These plant in full sun to part shade. They bloom summer to fall. They're known for fragrant blooms. They're great for containers. These also make for really great cut flowers. They're a little bit more exotic than a typical lily. These are, you plant them 2 to 3 inches below ground, 12 to 18 inches apart, and these tend to be 24 to 48 inches tall. Which is great. These are nice big bulbs, and I'll give you some close-ups of these when we're planting them. And the last variety I'm planting is also new to me, and I don't know if this is this looks more like a tuber, not a bulb, in my opinion. It says bulbs, but Oh, I forgot to tell you, the crinum lilies were 2 bulbs for $11.47. This particular variety is called Eremurus. You know, I'm just going to butcher it. And the variety is called CLEOPATRA, and it is 2 tubers for $11.47. These are planted in full sun. They bloom in the summer. They're an excellent cut flower and very easy to grow. They need 12 to 36 inches spacing. Their depth is planted 4 to 8 inches in depth. They are 48 to 72 inches tall, so very, very tall. I like to actually soak my tubers just a little bit before I get them started. But so let's get these particular ones in a little bit of water while I plant the other ones. Okay, I'm just going to start by filling this up with some fresh water. Eremurus. I still can't get the name, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and open up the bag, and let's pull these out and take a look. All right, so they called them bulbs. That's what they are in the package. They look more like tubers to me. I feel like this is where your old growth was, and it looks like new growth is starting to come up. Same thing over here. But let's go ahead and soak these just a little bit, not very long at all, just give them a little bit of moisture before we get them planted. Okay, so I'm wanting to work some of the iris and gladiola bulbs into a few of these containers over here. This container doesn't have much going on in it at all. This container has clematis and it also has verbascum. And this container over here has, oh actually it has nothing in the center, just clematis. This one has clematis and verbascum. The one at the end has this southern, the obedient plant is at the end. So I want to do some in this middle planter, maybe these two planters. I know that it won't match all the way across, but I have no intention of all of this matching all the way across. This is all experimental for me. I would like to do a mix of iris and gladiolus over here. So let's go take a look at that and let's get some planted. Okay, so the only thing I currently have planted in here is my lantana, and I've got some good amount of mulch over here too. So I'm actually going to thin out the mulch a little bit just to make my life a little bit easier when I'm going to plant. I don't plan on doing any bulbs over to the edges because I tend to put vining plants that direction. But let's go ahead and take a look what we have here. We have a good amount of space. I'm going to start with the Trader Horn gladiolus bulbs, and those are planted about 4 inches deep, I believe. Yes, 4 inches deep. And I've got 15 of those. So when you're looking at a bulb, you can see the top part right here, and then this is the underneath part. The underneath part shows where the roots are going to go out, almost like a little onion right there. So that part goes up. So I'm going to go ahead and lay out my glads. Now, a couple of things about this. I do plan on putting some kind of vining, maybe clematis or something else back here in the future. So I'm not wanting to go really far back with my bulbs. I want to keep them towards the front edge a little bit more. Kind of like that situation, spreading them out. Okay, my iris are also planted at 4 inches deep. These are pretty easy to see as well. There's the top of the bulb, there's the bottom of the bulb, so very easy to tell. So we're going to spread those out too. And we're just going to tuck them in around the glads. This will be a really pretty show. In the future, the iris will bloom first and then fade out right as the gladiolus are coming up, which will be awesome. Okay, so basically all I'm going to do at this point is use my hori-hori knife, make a hole, make a kind of an opening. I just kind of cram the knife down in there, and I push the bulb down into the space. And that's why I lay out all of my bulbs at the very beginning, because it's easier to see where everything should go. I just have to push the knife down exactly where I had the bulb laid out in place with the soil. I'm going to go ahead and spread my mulch back out over here. These plants are very strong bulbs. When they're sending up new growth, they're almost like little spheres cutting through the earth. And so these will push right past all the mulch, no problem. All right. Sweet. And then I totally forgot to fertilize. There is some really great compost in here, but I'm just going to come across with some of the plant tone. And then I'm just going to water this in. Okay, we want to go about the same thing over here. So once again, I'm just shoving aside all the mulch. And I want to be careful because I do have some smaller seedlings or smaller pieces of the clematis starting to try to come up. So I don't want to hurt those. And then I'm going to put the Priscilla variety. And I feel like I've grown Priscilla before. I can't remember though. I need to make some labels. Look at how I'll put them here. We'll see if I remember, y'all. Now, I might want to add another climber at a later date. Like a rose, climbing rose here. So I am making sure I'm still leaving some space back there. Tell you what, I've had really good luck with Aldi bulbs. So if you have an Aldi's near you, I feel like it's worth checking out. One thing about planting something like Gladiolus pretty close together is they can support each other when they get really tall. I feel like bulbs are a lot of work to get started, then you don't have to worry about them after that, which is nice. And this trough is also where I just planted the hyacinth beans. So I am going to make sure I kind of open this space up a little bit on each side again. Just move the mulch away. All right. Okay, so we're in the back left-hand side cut flower garden. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the two Eremurus, whatever they are. I'm going to put one here and one here. They grow really tall, and I would like them to grow in between the windows. So I'm going to lay both those out. And there's a very specific way that you lay out their bulbs and or tubers. So let me show you what that looks like. Okay, I got a lot of seedlings going on over here, so I'm trying to be gentle. So we're going to work right here in this particular area. I'm going to go ahead and use the hook to push back the hose right now. And these seedlings are going to get dug up and moved around. So basically, I'm going to make a pretty large hole, which sounds weird, right, for a bulb, right? Pretty large hole. And I want it at least 4 inches deep. You can go deeper. I think that I'm going to try with 4 inches and see how it goes. I've added my plant tone. Okay, this is my first time planting this bulb, and they're kind of weird looking. They kind of look like an octopus. They typically have a part that's sticking more up, and that part is the one you want to point towards the sky. So you're basically working down the hole, and you're going to spread out its kind of root tubers, and then just come right back over the top with it and cover it up. And that's it. Simple as that. Just kind of an interesting, unique plant. I think it's going to be really fun watching this one grow. So I got a lot of rogue seedlings over here. I think this is all part of potentially a sunflower, Maximilian sunflower that I got over there. I'm not sure. But regardless of the root where that is, it'll still come up. Even if I'm pulling this stuff up. Okay. So once again, I'm going to dig out this space. I'm going to add some plant tone. Now, I doubt I soaked these for more than 10 minutes. So, this guy's little tendrils don't want to stay down as well. So I'm going to hold them down while I push some of the soil back over the top. There we go. And I'm not going to water these because I already soaked them a little bit, so they're good to go. All right, there we go. So I've had this little bird hanging out. I don't know if he's injured. He's been out here the whole time I've been out. I don't know what's going on. He hasn't taken off, so maybe he's just hanging out, catching his breath, but okay. Okay, and then I think I'm going to wrap up with the crinum lilies over here. These are planted about 2 to 3 inches deep. Let me give you a good look at these bulbs. I should have shown you the other ones close up, but here we go. They're nice, right? All right, so these are 2 to 3 inches deep. I kind of think that they're similar to Amaranthus in that the crown of them comes up a little bit above. And I want to work them to this corner over here. This part obviously goes up, and the part where you see all the emaciated roots goes down. So I'm just going to put that guy in there and then backfill. And then I'm going to do another one back here towards the corner a little bit. Here we go. All right, sweet, done. Okay, so here we are along the back. Back there is where I have the crinum lily. Then this guy right here has iris and gladiolus, and this one has iris and gladiolus as well. Then over here on this garden, in between each of the windows is the Eremurus. I'm excited about those. If those end up being amazing, I'd love to plant them everywhere because they're so Willy Wonka and cool. All right, you all, thanks for joining me for today's video, getting some bulbs planted up for summer blooms, including, let's see, blue magic iris, PRISCILLA gladiolus, trader horn gladiolus, crinum lily red and white, and the Eremurus CLEOPATRA. So a vast array of very unique bulbs that I'm very excited to see how they look as they continue to grow in my garden. Very excited about the Eremurus. Those are also known as foxtail lilies. If those look good, I'm going to be investing in a lot of them just because they're so wacky, wonky, and cool. I just think it would be really neat to have them throughout my garden. All right, y'all, as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know when my latest videos are up. And make sure you check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.